Yeah, welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Donald Trump, he's been pounding the campaign trail. Earlier today, he was in Flint, Michigan, reaching out to African-American voters once again. And just hours ago, he had a rally, this time in Ohio. Let's take a look.
This is a movement. States are in play that no Republican has ever come close to winning. States are in play that the Republicans fly over those states. We're going to land there. We're going to do a little fun. But we have a lot of states in play that are not usually in play. In fact, for many, many decades in some cases, just not in play for Republicans, and they're really in play for us. I think we are going to have an unbelievable November 8th. Got to get out and vote. Got to get out and vote. Thank you. So the people of the United States are truly, and you can see that by looking at this incredible crowd, ready for change. They're ready to discard a failed political establishment that disdains, disrespects, and looks down on hard-working, great people. This election is about a choice between the control of an arrogant ruling class in Washington, D.C. versus the hopes and dreams of everyday citizens.
So after several huge rallies like the one you just saw and the successful rollout of his comprehensive child care policy, Donald Trump is now surging in some very important key swing states. First, according to the most recent Bloomberg poll, out of the must-win state of Ohio, Trump has now taken a significant 5-point lead in a four-way matchup, polling at 43% to Hillary Clinton's 38%, which is outside the margin of error. And that's not all. In another key swing state, Nevada, a brand new Monmouth University poll shows Trump up by 2 points. CNN also out tonight with another swing state polling information. And in Ohio, Trump tops Clinton by 5 points, 46-41. Also, Trump is leading in Florida, 47-44 over Clinton. Also, a new Reuters poll shows Trump is winning in the state of Colorado, while also the LA Times has a poll out nationally with Trump having a 5-point lead. Joining us now with reaction. This is good news for the Trump campaign. Former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. You've been saying all along, there's something about you that irritates me when you're right all the time, because I was with you at 94, and you told me months before, after the Republicans had been in the wilderness 40 years, that you guys were going to win, and you did. And you've been saying very confidently, very calmly now for, a pretty significant period of time, you believe he has this election. He'll win it. Why?
Well, I think two things. One is I think Trump represents a visionary, new, change-oriented leadership. The speech he gave last night, that it was a terrific speech on raising children, on helping mothers, on families, something which Ivanka Trump had done a great job working on, as had Kathy McMorris Rodgers. I mean, you look at that speech. That is a solid, positive speech that's going to appeal to many people, men and women, all over the country. You look at what he's done in other areas recently, his visit to Detroit, where he really made a clear effort to say to every African American, I really want to work with you for a better future. This is a guy who's really breaking out of the old order. At the same time, you have Hillary getting worse and worse. And I've been doing some research, for example. Yes, I don't think this has been in public record yet. But her State Department actually opposed raising the minimum wage in Haiti from $3 a day.
I saw that, yeah.
To $5 a day. I want you to think about this. Not an hour. From $3 a day to $5 a day. Now, how does Hillary Clinton run as a caring, compassionate conservative?
Well, wait a minute. How does Hillary Clinton run and like when she said basket of deplorables and half the country is racist, sexist, misogynist, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic. I didn't even know all these conditions existed. When she takes money from country after country, tens of millions of dollars from the Saudis, for example, and yet They kill gays and lesbians. They persecute women. They persecute Christians and Jews. How can she take their money, they buy her silence, and then accuse others of the very thing she's guilty of?
That's right. And this is a debate, frankly, that conservatives and Republicans ought to be prepared to go head on. I mean, let's talk about if you were a gay or lesbian American, who should you be for? And when you look at Hillary Clinton's record of taking money from genuinely homophobic societies, you look at the record of Clinton and Obama and John Kerry at sending money to Iran, which kills gays, you have to say to yourself, there's something so profoundly hypocritical, and that's frankly why I mentioned the Haitian minimum wage. They pose as though they're the friends of the poor, but in fact in Haiti, the Clintons were the friends of the rich, and they actively fought against helping the poor.
Let me go back to the polling numbers again. Now he's up in North Carolina in a poll by 3. He's up in Florida at the poll I just mentioned. He's up in Ohio in 2 polls now, Colorado and Nevada. Also, you can add to that Iowa. He's close in Michigan, 3 points in Wisconsin. He's close in Pennsylvania, Virginia. How does he close the gap in these all-important swing states?
Well, I think, first of all, he continues what he's been doing. He's been giving very solid speeches. He's been making very positive cases. He needs to lay out a very strong infrastructure plan for the whole country. He needs to continue to develop what he would do, for example, on health care, on the role of science in developing cures. I mean, there are a lot of things that he can talk about that are positive, that bring together 80% of the country, leaving Hillary over here totally isolated. Second, he's got to continue his effort in the African-American community. We're beginning to see genuine movement as younger African-Americans look up and go, you know, this hasn't worked. Maybe I ought to give Donald Trump a chance.
Listen,
if he'll continue to campaign there, he is going to have a big impact.
58% since Obama's been president increased black Americans on food stamps. 12 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more Americans in poverty, lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, lowest home ownership rate in 51 years, worst recovery, believe it or not, since the 40s. No president in our history has ever gone an entire presidency without a year of 3% GDP growth, except this president. And then, of course, 1 in 5 American families, not a single family member working. And by the way, he will have accumulated more debt than every other president before him combined. She can't run on that record, although she says she is. And she certainly can't run on Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Putin, China, North Korea, or Libya. So the only thing she has left is to attack him and talk about the basket of deplorables. How should he react to that?
Well, I think you ought to give a couple of speeches on what's really deplorable. What's really deplorable is an American being shot every 2 hours in Chicago. What's really deplorable is the children being cheated by the Detroit public schools. What's really deplorable is a government that's out of control. What's really deplorable is a border that's open. I mean, you can go down a list of deplorables, and I think you ought to say, let's talk. We'll take Hillary's language over here. Now let's talk about the real world for real people.
Isn't that such an arrogant statement that half the country's deplorable? I thought, whatever happened to liberal open-mindedness? And yet...
It emigrated about 1957.
All right, well said. Touche. Stay right there. More with Newt Gingrich right after the break. Plus, after collapsing, as she did over the weekend, Hillary's campaign has now released new information about her pneumonia diagnosis and her overall health. Frankly, I don't believe it, but our Fox Medical A team will be here. They'll get their take. And also later, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, will join us. We'll talk about these brand new poll numbers, his debate prep, and also Donald Trump's health. That and more on this busy news night on Hannity.